What up, guys? It's Kyle. In this video, I want to talk about, you know, on this channel, we've talked a lot about, like, when a man becomes overly nice around women, and the consequences. And I want to continue to talk about that type of thing. But also, I want to talk about what happens when it goes the other way. Because, even on my journey, I'm trying to be more balanced, not be overly nice, not be a people pleaser. I found myself, going too far in the opposite direction. I guess in like the, you could say, assertiveness or alpha, and I think a lot of men want to do that, and I see this happening on when I watch these pickup videos and stuff, and I think that it can actually become too far imbalanced to where you become kind of just distasteful, and you're so assertive and acting so alpha that it's almost fake, and it can almost be corny, and it doesn't really flow that well. And I think a lot of, like, I guess the idea of being an alpha is like, just taking things, taking what you want, and thinking, oh, that's mine just because I claim it's mine. And that's not really how relationships work, because relationships flow together and it involves the other person, and you have to take the other person into account, and you have to allow that person the space to connect with you. And I think a lot of the times being a, like alpha, or trying to not be a nice guy, can actually backfire. And I want to talk about what happens, or the things people do that take it too far. Alright, we're going to get into it. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is when a man takes it way too far in the other direction of, trying to leave nice guy, and he tries too hard to control and direct the dates with the woman. It's not even necessarily a date, it could be really anything, but he thinks, you can just text the girl and say, show up this time, this place, exactly 6 p.m., be there, like, dress like this, and he's kind of telling her what to do, and not even giving like an option, or like even asking, like, are you free? Or, I mean, you don't always want to ask, are you free, but being way too direct, or like one-sided. You're thinking that you can just tell her what to do, and that makes you like an alpha, but it's actually a little bit corny, and the girl might be like, whoa, I have a life too. You can't just tell me, like, show up here at this time, this place, at this. I mean, I think it's better to just be casual and just be like, hey, I want to ask you, if you can get dinner at 6 p.m. this Tuesday. If not, I got time 12 p.m. on Thursday. But just saying da 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 da, telling them what to do, I think it's just way too direct, and it doesn't take the other person into account. The second thing I want to talk about is actually pretty related, and this is kind of when you try to create a whole personality built around confidence. And I think this can be very corny, and I think rub people the wrong way. Like, you can't just be so confident in everything. Like, for example, going up to the girl and going like this, you, me, dinner, let's do it. Or like, something like that, or like, I don't know, you're just trying too hard, like, trying to always be confident and always, like, say the right things, like you're some James Bond, like, movie character, speaking like somebody wrote a script, and you're speaking. Even just going up to women and saying, you are so beautiful and I am so handsome. Like, I don't know, you're just trying to be too confident. It just actually comes off almost as if you're insecure, and it's just off-putting. So if you're trying to build a whole personality around confidence, it's okay, like, to be vulnerable or just relax a little bit. The next thing I want to talk about is kind of like pickup artistry tricks and how people can take it way too far, like negging and cold reading. So, for example, cold reads could be like a lot of people will do this where they'll try to like assume something about somebody else. Oh, you look like you would be someone who's really into, going to the beach, or you look like someone who likes to play sports. And I've seen guys online that just take it way too far. And it's just like corny. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of like I'm so competent that I can read everything about you. And it's very manipulative. I've seen dudes who are like, they'll just say something really random. They're like, you, you look like you went to school to be a nurse, or like they just say really random things, or even like, um, you know, I saw one where some guy was like, you have such a bubbly personality, even though she didn't, like clearly didn't. I think other people in the comments said that she didn't either. And I think this one is kind of icky, like doing cold reads on somebody. It's like you're trying to act like you're more competent than them, to the point that you can look into their life and you know what they are and what they do. And I think this one is, it's, I think a lot of people try to do it when they try to, you know, become more alpha or whatever. But I think it can ick people out, and it's not good to act like you can read somebody. And a lot of time I think it's just a lie. You're just acting competent, but it's, how the heck are you gonna know somebody is a nurse? I mean, unless you really have a reason to think that, you know. Another one could be negging. Um, I guess that's when you kind of put a woman down, to drop her ego a little bit so she can be more on the same level as you. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that negging is important. Not even from a pickup artistry standpoint. I'm just saying that women are, a lot of them are loaded with confidence, and they're loaded with experiences of being chased, um, rather than them chasing the man. So sometimes they do have to be put down a little bit, but I think some dudes will take it way too far. They'll be like, that shirt looks stupid, like I've seen, or stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, this is like kind of corny. Like, don't do that. If you want to neg somebody, it's better to just act chill and don't over text them. That's at least neutral, um, to where they feel like, okay, you're not gonna chase them that hard. But if you really want to, you could say something like, um, I'm gonna cut real quick. You could say something like, your hair is good, your hairstyle's good, but I think it would look better if you grew it out a little bit, or if you cut it a few inches, or you could tell her, I'm not a big fan of your taste in music, or something like that. And you try to be truthful, but you know, there's little ways that you can drop a woman down, and a lot of it, like I'm saying, is just don't chase them, don't pursue them too hard, and then they will know, like, you're not trying too hard, and then they'll feel a sense of being more on your level. But if people are going way too hard negging a girl, it just looks kind of corny. And the other problem with it is that if it backfires and you actually say something very hurtful to the woman, or semi-hurtful, she might lose all empathy for you. Like, if she was on the fence about you and thinking about going out, and but wasn't really sure, you know, if you piss her off, or something like that by negging her, she's gonna lose empathy for you and be like, that can happen, and then she'll be like, I'm not gonna talk to this guy anymore. He pissed me off. Um, yeah, sometimes if you make a woman mad, yeah, maybe they'll be more attracted to you, but it can also backfire the other way. So I don't suggest doing it too much. And related to negging is like the idea of like, um, acting like confused or dumbfounded by what the woman says. I think sometimes this can come from a sense of insecurity, or even when people try to be more alpha, a man, they'll kind of constantly try to have this air about them that they're more competent than the woman, and it's like, so they'll react to what the woman says as if what she said was stupid, or even just subtly. Um, you don't necessarily want to do that. It can actually make you look unconfident. It can make you look like a jerk. Um, if you're constantly trying to act like you're more competent than another person, or even thinking from that frame, it's just kind of like, I don't know. If you're confident and secure in who you are, you don't have to do that. The next one is basically when a man kind of becomes a caricature of a man, where it's just like he's just trying to do all things that are stereotypically male oriented, like hitting the gym, working on cars, fishing, hunting, drinking beers, uh, showing no emotion, like all that type of thing. And I feel like you don't want to reduce yourself to this. I mean, for one, it's like you're just making yourself like a bodyguard basically, where you're just like all you can do is be a tough man in the presence of the woman physically, but she needs a emotional connection, and also you're kind of reducing yourself to something so simple, so it kind of kills your mystery. You need to be more dynamic, like have the woman wants to know that you have emotional intelligence. You're not just like hit the gym, beer, like uh, work on cars, play sports. And I've seen men, kind of reducing themselves to this type of caricature, where if you go on their Instagram, it's like a photo of them in front of like a car that they don't own. I want to talk about that too. Or, you know, holding up the fish that they caught, which is, it's all cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But, and then they have a photo of them in a suit looking like they're about to make $1 million. And then like a photo of them like lifting weights at the gym or something like that. And I think this type of thing can be off-putting. It's okay if you have those photos or hobbies, but when you try to make your whole personality around these, manly alpha grind set culture, which I've talked about in the past, it can kind of make you look a little bit, I don't know, just like you don't know yourself and you're you're trying to choose an identity. I think even when men get way too far into like the a man does this and a woman does this, a man can't do this. I think, don't get me wrong, like I'm not trying to blend gender roles or anything like that, but if you do it too much, or even if you talk like that in front of a woman, it can make you look insecure. Like I once was talking to this guy in the grocery store who said that he came there to buy some hard ciders, and he said that he wouldn't drink the hard ciders at the bar because his friends would make fun of him. So he said that he would only come to the grocery store and buy it, and then take it home and drink by himself. His friends would only drink beer or other drinks. He seemed genuinely kind of unconfident about this, and I'm like, in this pursuit of I'm gonna be a man, I don't drink hard cider, which I think a lot of men like hard cider, but anyways, this was his mindset. In the pursuit of trying to be a man, he kind of became insecure. So I'd be careful about a man only does this and a man only does that. You can kind of end up insecure, and you don't even want to, when you're around a woman, you don't even want to look like you're trying. So you don't want to have that mindset of trying to do, like being so strict about what a man can do, what a man can't, because it might just make you a little bit insecure. The next thing I want to talk about is aggressiveness and competitiveness. Um, when you're coming out of the stage of being a people pleaser, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to work on your aggressiveness and competitiveness, But when people take it way too far, like trying to turn everything into a competition with their friends, and um, even in the sense of being easily offended and being aggressive, like it doesn't make you like, I feel like, the ideal man. If someone like accidentally bumps into you and you try to pick a fight with them or something like that, that's just too far, because you want to stay emotionally cool. You want to be able to express yourself. Um, in this case, someone bumps into you, you just say, "Oh, excuse me," you know. But trying to pick a fight, and I actually heard a story of this happening, um, where somebody, a woman was on a date with a man, and he tried to pick a fight with someone who bumped into him. I think he was doing it to try to show off, and she didn't like it, and she never saw him again. So this type of thing, you're just gonna get yourself hurt, and you don't need to. It doesn't emasculate you or something just because you don't want to fight somebody. Nobody, I mean, who really wants to fight other than just because you hate somebody or whatever? But the legal repercussions and safety is not necessarily good. You're gonna get yourself into trouble. Um, so aggressiveness does not necessarily have to turn into something so far. You can have a little bit of aggressiveness and about you that is enough to be assertive. I just realized that my mic is not working, so we're gonna have to turn up the volume on this video, probably, or I'm gonna try to talk a little bit louder. Um, Hopefully that didn't cause a problem. The next thing I want to talk about is things like refusing to compliment a woman, which I guess is related to the negging, but you can't be so cold that you don't ever compliment a woman, like tell her that you like her shirt or something like that. Like, it's okay to compliment. Like, you're not gonna get, I don't think she's gonna get bored of you just because you gave her some positive validation. Like, you can compliment, just don't overdo it. Um, I wouldn't give general compliments. Don't be like, "You're so beautiful," because there's nothing else for her to earn. It's better to give compliments about specific things, like, something she said, so she still has to repeat those things to get more compliments. Um, and then another thing that I want to talk about is that I think a lot of men can try to be overly independent, where they're like, I can't let a girl do anything for me. Like, that's not alpha. Like, she can't give me a ride home. She can't, do things for me. I'm not gonna let her pay for me. Like, they feel like they're being emasculated, but it's like, just chill out. Like, if you don't have a car and the girl does, and she wants to drive you home, okay, fine, just take it. You don't have to be unconfident. You don't have to be like, I'm gonna walk home because no girl is taking me home, like driving me home. I'm not about to be in the passenger seat. Like, it's all right. And if a girl wants to pay for you, maybe it does mean that she really likes you, so just let her pay. If it's like the second or third date or whatever, you already paid multiple times. You don't have to be so unconfident about your role as a man. This one is kind of something I went through a little bit, um, and that's, I feel like, when a man first wants to be kind of cool, and he wants to leave the nice guy phase. Maybe he kind of can get involved in some boyish type of fashion style, like chains. God forbid you don't like tat yourself up like a ton just to kind of look more alpha and regret it later. Um, I personally do not recommend that a man wears streetwear. I think that for many reasons it kind of looks immature. Um, it The quality of the stuff isn't that good compared to the price. I recommend wearing more classics, even like a shirt like this. It's a dress shirt. It's more classic style. But maybe if you want to do some streetwear, if that's your thing, it's a cool art form, I think. but you don't want to get too far into, you know, boyish lifestyle culture. You want to dress, be more like a man, and also this type of thing like chains and stuff can make you look like a player. Because here's the bottom line, guys, is that when you approach a really good quality woman, you don't want her to think that you're a player. Uh, so there's certain things that you might think are cool, like because we're so used to it in modern day, because there's just not that many quality women. We might think, oh wow, this is gonna help me, like tattoos and chains and all this pickup boy stuff. You're not really necessarily gonna like that when you come across a really high quality woman who you just want to be yourself around more. So I'd be really careful about the, trying to buy some streetwear just to look cool, and like it can kind of be corny, and um, yeah, unless it's your actual hobby. Another bad one that I've seen before is men thinking that they need to have lots of social proof of being around other women to have a woman be attracted to you, and a lot of time this can just end up looking very corny and can probably give women the ick. Like, you don't want to be posting photos with various women every single week, you know? Like, and don't have photos with women on your social media unless that is your girlfriend. Like, it's not a good look. It's really not a good look. And I don't, yeah, just, you don't need all this social proof of being with women. I don't think women like that. I think they're gonna get icked by it. I mean, don't get me wrong, you wanna know other women and maybe have some women in your friend group and take a photo with that, or maybe a photo here and there, and make sure that it's not in a environment that's like a club or something like that, where the girl is dressed like very, like showing a lot of skin. It's not gonna make you look good. You're gonna look like you're not loyal, because a woman still wants loyalty. Yeah, she wants to know that you can get with other, other women appreciate you, but you don't want to take it so far to where it's like you just looking like a playboy. It's giving people the ick. Um, but yeah, I'll post a photo with a woman every now and again, but the environment, it'll be like in a coffee shop. It's not like at a bar or club, or I don't go to clubs, so I wouldn't anyways, but you got to be careful about that. This last one I want to mention, I believe, is really big, and this is when men, start thinking that they are the prize, um, and they think that women are just gonna approach them and start chatting with them, and I think no, that's not generally the case. Um, no women really ever approach me, especially in public. Uh, sometimes I'll get slight smiles, but that's about it. Like, you're not really gonna get approached by women, and you can't have like this main character type energy where you think that everybody's just gonna come to you, and your life is gonna fall into place just because people want to be around you. You have to put in the effort to go up and talk to a woman. I think it can be good if you get in her space and wait until she smiles at you or notices you, so it feels like she noticed you first. So then you kind of gives you the upper hand a little bit. Um, yeah. So that about wraps up this video, guys. One more tip I do want to talk about, and I might give actual like full video just on this topic, is that I think that confidence um, can backfire. So like when we're going from the being a people pleaser or a nice guy to being um, overly confident, or I guess and overly assertive, or maybe someone's watching this video who just naturally is overly assertive, and it's or alpha, and it's turning women off. Um, I think that it can backfire because if you get so confident, it can actually make you not fit in. Because if you think about it from a human perspective, you should be afraid of people's opinions. You should be slightly insecure. Because if we're social creatures, you're not supposed to necessarily just be on your own doing your own thing. So I've noticed a lot of men with um, girlfriends and stuff, they're not overly confident because I feel like insecurity actually helps you in some ways be socially intelligent because you're not just saying anything and everything, and it makes you a little bit more calculated, which I think can be good, and even a little bit more mysterious, and like you're not trying as hard. Because if you're so confident that you don't care about anybody else's opinion, that doesn't make you human. I feel like that can actually turn people off because it's not a very human characteristic to not care about what other people think. Um, Unless, I mean, if you truly are this leader, I guess, okay, but I wouldn't necessarily put all your bets in this idea that if you are confident and say whatever you think, that people will like you. It has to be calculated, which I think is can be even a problem with these. What can be misleading with these social anxiety challenges, where people go into public and do or say something stupid in front of other people just to get over their social anxiety. I think it's good, and I've done those before. But if you think that people or women are going to be attracted to you just because you can do anything ballsy that's uncalculated, I don't think that that's the case. That's just my opinion. I still believe you can't just be firing out random things, saying things that are ballsy and confident, but it doesn't really fit in necessarily. I mean, you gotta fit in to some extent, and yeah. So I think sometimes insecurity can actually go in someone's favor or just being neutral. But that's my opinion. I don't know if anybody else is gonna say that online. But I notice a lot of dudes with girlfriends are just quiet and insecure. But they're good. They have good social skills. All right, that's it for this one. Uh, yeah, I don't want anybody to get too unbalanced on my channel, and I don't want anybody to get too into the pickup culture, pickup artistry. You just want to stay more real and authentic, um, and more chill. All right, peace out.